Alrighty, hello and welcome to episode
Hello and welcome.
5 of the Zer0
think,
Gamers.
I held up 2 hands. It's like 10.
Yeah, yeah, you did the double. We're not there yet, but later this summer we'll be there.
Heck yeah.
So with your hosts Void and Tylenol, both of us with zeros instead of O's. So how you doing, gamer?
Zeros instead of O's, 0 and an O. We got everything over here.
Yep.
I'm doing pretty well. It's almost Voidathon, so they say.
It is almost Voidathon, so I heard. So yeah, if you guys are new to the podcast, or if you guys are just new to my stream, then first off, like, what are you doing? Just like click the subscribe button, just click the follow button.
That subscribe button, gamers.
Do all of those shenanigans. But second off, I am hosting this marathon on my channel next week. It's gonna be from Sunday to Saturday, so it starts tomorrow because we're currently recording this episode on Saturday afternoon, and it should be a good time. I will be doing runs, Tylenol will be doing runs, everyone in the community will be doing runs. It's gonna be pretty dope. Are you excited for Voidathon, Tylenol? I think it's gonna be your first Voidathon. No, actually it's gonna be your second.
Technically my second. This is the 5th one, right? Total?
5th one total. So okay, so it's a little complicated, but like I guess I'll give the lore since we're like it's on the topic. But like the first Voidathon that I did was more of like a 12-hour stream where it was like a 5,000 follower special that I did on Twitch, and I would just do a fat speed gauntlet of like all of my speed runs up to that point. So I did Link to the Past, Super Mario RPG, Yoshi's Island, the DKC trilogy. I think I did some Mega Man games as well. But yeah, that was the first Voidathon. But like the idea of like what Voidathon currently is only like took place on the second iteration of Voidathon. But like I still called it like Voidathon 2 because Voidathon 1 already existed. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So like this one is Voidathon 5, but it's the 4th Voidathon in that format, so to speak.
Yeah, with like a bunch of people coming together and doing runs. Like, as exactly. An actual marathon. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm doing one run. I'm doing a trilogy relay race. I'm a little like nervous about it. I'm not gonna lie.
How come?
I don't know. Anytime I have to do a no reset run, whether it's like for a marathon by myself or in a race setting, I just am like, man, like I don't want to like mess up too bad. You know? And like since it's a trilogy relay race, it's like if I'm falling behind and the other team they're done with I'm also doing Donkey 1, right? So that's the first one. So like I'm first up. And if the other person's ahead of me, and then like I'm passing the baton to Dkc 2, the next person in line on my team, then it's like I'm gonna feel bad if I'm like falling behind. Every mistake is gonna make me think more and more about it. I'm almost like feeling more pressure because I don't want to let my teammates down, and I also am like in a pressure situation of just being in a race, right? So
yep, I can attest to like letting your team down because when we did like the first DKC like really trilogy relay that happened on the big stage was AGDQ 2017, and like I did DKC 2 for that leg, and like my DKC 2 run was so bad. It was like out of like all the DKC runs of that trilogy relay, I probably had the worst run. Like I had Castle Crush issues, and I think like I had a couple other deaths prior to that in the run, and like I think I ended up getting like a low 43. But like like when you compare to like the other two runners of DKC 2, I think they both had 41s. So it's like, well, feel bad look for the world's record holder,
the world's record holder, Void.
Yeah, and we ended up like finishing last, and I guess no small part because of like me fucking up, but it was still like a good time, and like just the fact that we were able to showcase the trilogy relay on the big stage, like it led to so many more relays happening in like the follow-up years.
Yeah, relay races are really cool because like you don't have to like it's like a way that like you can get all 3 games showcased, like at least in DKC specifically, without having to be somebody who's skilled in all 3 of the games, right? So like you can have somebody who just genuinely specializes in one of the 3 be a part of it and just pass the baton, and like that's like I don't know, that's pretty cool. Like that way like you can really get to show off like top level like gameplay in each of them if you can get it like a top runner for like each of the games to show up for it, and it really is like a nice thing compact into one package.
Yeah, and like I think we pretty much had like all the top runners for that event, like back then at least. Like we had it was pretty stacked. Like the whole like trilogy, we had 3 teams of 3, and like it was like pretty much all the top active runners at that time. So that was pretty cool. And like even like the Voidathon relay that's gonna happen next week, like I feel like we have like quite the lineup. We're still missing a DKC3 runner, but like we're gonna be fixing that. Like if all else fails, like I'll probably just do the DKC3 leg.
Let's go, boy!
I'll be running in my own marathon. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine? And if you can't, then it might actually happen, so you won't have to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like it should be a good time, and like it's not even just like the DKC relay that's gonna happen. Voidathon, we'll have like plenty of other like really good runs, and also randos, like a lot of randos this year from people in the community.
Yeah. Which ones is, I imagine Link to the Past is going to be somewhere in there. I don't know for sure.
Link to the Past Rando is not in, actually. It was in last year, but I decided not to include it this year because I decided to include a vanilla Link to the Past speedrun instead.
Okay, yeah, that makes
but
sense.
like as far as randos are concerned, like I think we have Dark Souls rando, Paper Mario rando, a Zooter, have Sonic Adventure DX rando. I have Super Mario World rando potentially. That one's gonna be crowd control as well. And like I would have like I don't have the schedule open at the moment, but like off the top of my head, that's like 5 randos already, and like I'm pretty sure there's a 6th one that I'm just like forgetting about. But it's loaded, loaded rando wise.
Tons of randomizers.
Yeah.
People love their randomizers.
The rando bug. Like I was in Demon's stream the other day, and like I showed him the schedule, and like he was basically like laughing at me for having so many randos in the schedule. And he was like, the schedule sucks, and I was like, in my head I was like, but you also did not submit, so like,
yeah, what the heck, Demon? Explain yourself.
Come on,
come on.
Talking shit, but like not even like applying for Voidathon.
This is so sad.
This is so sad.
Well, that's coming up on the first day is going to be May 22nd, right?
Yep,
and last is the 28th, right?
Yep,
if I remember
correct.
Cool.
And they're 12-hour days, so like from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern.
You're gonna be a busy gamer.
I will be a busy gamer. Yeah, I will be doing a lot of restreaming that week.
Yeah, what's it like just organizing something like that in general? Because like I've never like started doing something like that before.
Yeah. Would you be interested in doing something like that?
Not anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If I were to do it, it'd be something that like
probably like maybe like on the smaller scale.
Yeah, I could see something like a weekend event type thing, maybe, if it was something that I was kind of like, oh, maybe I could do this. But in general, like, off the bat, I'm just like, I'd be so overwhelmed with the idea of how long it would take to just organize and get everyone. And if someone drops out last minute, then what do I do? If we're running late on schedule, all that stuff, like...
Yeah.
Man.
But like...
Internet issues...
Yeah, the issues, and God knows I've had issues in past Voidathons. Like I'm not gonna like go into detail on like some of them, but yeah, it's pretty stressful when like technical difficulties happen, and then you're like, like now is where like the improv gear needs to kick in,
Yeah, exactly.
But like as far as planning goes, it's quite a bit of work, but like once you get to the event itself, I want to say it's like not that bad, because like you have to like at first get the submission form ready, and then like drop it and let people fill them in, and then you like get their replies back, and you end up building the schedule based on that. But like the hard part about building the schedule is like making sure that everyone's availabilities match with like the time slot that you put them in, and
Yep.
like that like for whatever reason, like this year I thought it was really tricky. I didn't remember it being this tricky like in the previous years, but like this year was like particularly challenging, and like we're still like we're on the cusp of like starting the event, and like there are still like some schedule things that need to be tightened up, and like I'm still waiting to hear about some people on like schedule wise to see if like it's perfectly okay the time slot that they're in, and if not, then like some slight adjustments might need to happen, adjustments that I hope won't like affect the schedule too much, but like yeah, that part is stressful. Like I want to say like this year that has been the most stressful part, like just organizing the schedule, and then like because I did this last year as well. I released the schedule the week before the event starts, which is like not a really like large I guess gap between like the schedule being released and like the event starting. Like I think other marathons like release the schedule much earlier, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the event starts. Last year I did it like a week before, because in my head I was like, I'm gonna open up submissions like later than I used to. Like I used to open them at the beginning of April, and then last year I opened them mid to late April. So I would like let the submissions be open for like maybe 3 weeks, and then on the like last weekend is when I would start building the schedule. And like I can usually like, despite how stressful building the schedule can be and is, I'm usually done with it pretty quick. So which is nice. And then I can release the schedule like pretty much immediately after I'm done with it. But that's kind of like a drawback of putting the submission period like a bit later than I used to. But like my thought process for it was I wanted to keep the submission period closer to the event so that like the interest like is like remains pretty high for it, like instead of like, oh, you open submissions for Vortathon like a whole ass month and a half to 2 months like before the event starts, and then it's like, oh, by the end of like the submission period like you get like almost none of it, because like it's like the interest for submitting to the marathon like there's kind of like a valley of interest kind of.
Yeah, even some people probably even just like forgot.
Exactly. It's like I have the command in my stream title, and like I stream almost every day, but like some people just like forget to submit.
Yeah,
which is fine. But yeah, like that was also like another reason for me to like put the submission period closer to the event. And I was like, a week is like not a lot of time to like maybe prep for a run and like make sure to do schedule adjustments if need be. But at the same time, Vortathon is low pressure. Like I keep telling the gamers that like there's nothing to prove here. It's just to like have a good time with gamers, and like I'm more than happy to use my platform to like share the runs and the love to all the gamers that are part of the community. And like that's really like that was really a big reason why I started hosting those marathons in the first place. I thought it would be like a really good way to bring the community closer together.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it is very chill, like you said. I mean, you have VCs, like, what, in your Discord server, and people can just roll in and,
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, while one person's doing a run in the VC, and someone might say, hey, what's up?
Yeah, exactly.
It's very, very, very laid back.
Yep,
and, it is a very nice thing about it that I've always appreciated, and I agree with you. I think it definitely brings people together a lot nicer, because, like, when you're preparing for a marathon, like how I was even just saying, I was like, oh, I'm kind of nervous about the race and stuff like that. But like, once I'm there and I'm doing it, I'm sure it'll be like, a lot better. Just because like I'll realize, like you were saying, it is low pressure. It's not like anything like doing a run for GDQ where it's like spotlight, here you are doing the thing, everyone's watching you, all that stuff, and like 100,000 view stream. Whatever,
like my stream is not there yet with the views.
hey, one day though, right?
one day, copium. But and then like once the marathon starts, then like I have to do the restreaming part of it. But that one is like not that bad because like as long as like no technical difficulties happen, then it's just like give the stream key, let like crop up some stuff on the stream, and then rinse and repeat one after the other.
Yeah, it's very hands-on. Not too like much difficult stuff, just very like hands-on. You have to be there actively.
Yeah.
Things are running well. So yeah.
And once the stream is running, like of course, like cross your fingers for no bad luck, like no stream drop, no like power outage, which hasn't happened yet in a Voidathon.
Oh my gosh! Could you imagine?
Could you imagine losing power in the middle of Voidathon? Yeah.
Oh,
God damn. And like I used to be in a place like, well, I mean, I still live in the same place, but like where I live, I remember like a few years ago, like we used to get like some like big ass storms here, and we wouldn't lose power, but like a follow-up time, we would have like little bit of rain, little bit of wind, boom, lose power for 3 hours. It's like, where's the logic here, fam?
Literally just one power strip or whatever, or not power strip, like wire or whatever, just like hits into something else and boom.
Yep.
It.
Everything blows up and then it's over. But man, I wonder like what would the play be like if that happens. It's just like, do I like plan to have like a backup restreamer in that case, like, or do I just like cross my fingers and like let Mother Nature wins?
Yeah, it's like you gotta have to sit there and just wait until like it just comes back on, or like go and grab your phone and go into chat. Hey guys, power is out, by the way.
Yeah.
Trying to figure things out. Please hold void double. Like, it's pretty much that.
Classic. Yup. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so like you did Sonic Adventure 2 like at your first Voidathon, and this time around you're doing DKC 1.
Yeah. I think when I submitted Sonic Adventure 2 for the first Voidathon that I participated in, which I believe is the second one, right?
So, yes.
That was, oh man, I remember like, even though like you were saying it's chill environment, I didn't feel chill when I was doing that run. I remember that run so well because I remember there's a trick at the end of the run and I failed it like, I don't even know, like 10 or 11 or 12 times in a row. And then eventually I just stopped going for it and just played the stage skipless. And I was like, I remember in that moment, I felt like so embarrassed. And like at the time I was still pretty new to like your community and stuff. And like, I wasn't like, I was running DKC, but I'd only been running it for like 6 months or something, I want to say.
Yeah. You were more of a Sonic runner back then than a DKC runner. Even though, like, exactly. you started being, like, bigger, like, taking, like, a bigger place in the community.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I had mostly felt comfortable doing Sonic Adventure 2, and I wanted to just submit something. I'm like, oh, I should do this, like, why not? It's like, I think that it was my very first time ever running in any marathon ever. As well. So of course I was like kind of nervous about that too, and like explaining things and like, oh, this is how this trick works, and like balancing talking about stuff and like playing at the same time was very, very new to me. And like I don't know, when I failed that trick so many times in a row, I feel like I probably should have had a better game plan going into it. In my mind I'm like, oh, I never mess this up like more than like 5 times at worst in runs. So like my thought process was, I won't mess it up. But in reality, I did mess it up twice as much and then just never ended up getting it. And I went over estimate and I was like, no.
Yeah. This is what the pros call marathon luck.
Yeah. Marathon RNG.
Yeah, it's like you think that section's gonna go well, and then obviously it doesn't because you're doing a marathon / no reset run, and then it's just like, you're gonna have to like manage that case scenario. Yeah.
But for this upcoming one that I'm going to be doing my run for, the biggest things that I'm concerned about is just not like soft locking, which there are preventative ways to do this, but there's 2 specific places that I'm thinking of. Is that's like the split up glitch at the end of the run. I could just always do that after beating Loopy to basically completely eliminate the chances of me getting a soft lock. But the other one is in antics. If I release the SJR too soon, I soft lock, and if I soft lock, that's like I better have saved or that's it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, and I'm in a spot right now where I'm like not entirely sure. It's like, I could always hold the B button a little longer, but I'm just like, what if my thumb slips? What if something like happens? Like, what if there's a bug on my arm and I'm just like, and then I have to let go of it, and then it's just like, I'm gonna soft lock, no.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is more of like this on the side of like overthinking things. I would say, but like, because yeah, like your thumb slipping, okay, that can happen, sure, but as long as like you hit the trick and you decide to like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like hold a little longer to like be 100,000% sure that I don't
Yeah.
soft lock, then like that's okay. But like,
Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
like the Loopy Lights one is a little scarier. I've never had like well, how could I say this? Like, I play pretty safe in DKC one.
Yeah.
Mostly because like my strats, like most of my strats are like from circa 2013. So like when I do loopy lights, like I always like stick to grandpa strats that I like to
Yeah.
call them, and
Mhm.
like soft locking and loopy is not like really a concern for me. But like you go for like much more optimal stuff in loopy, and like you also
Yeah.
like probably save like a few extra seconds. Like I want to say like it has to be several seconds that you save over like the way I would do loopy. But at the same
Mhm.
time, like that B section at the end, like it's much more scarier.
One wrong step and you die. Like, and
Yeah.
it's not, you could take it safe and still just die there. Like,
Yep.
it's not even like, it's just very like sensitive is what I
Yeah.
would
Yeah. Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like ultimately what I'll probably end up doing, even though I'm pretty confident in myself to not soft lock in that level by dying,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm still just gonna beat the stage first and go back.
Mm-hmm.
Unless like I for some reason feel like I need to save more time, which I probably don't because there's a whole two other games that have to be played after me, so
Yeah.
it's probably
Exactly.
not a big deal.
Yeah, and since this is like a low pressure marathon, anyways, like I wouldn't have a problem. Say if you soft lock at the end of loopy lights, then like okay, just like reset your console, like get a completed save file, go do loopy lights, go do speed up glitch, and like do the
Yeah,
rest of the
yeah,
run. Like it's
that makes
fine,
sense.
it's fine.
Hmm.
But like yeah, of course, like that would be pretty slow. Like I'm obviously not gonna ask you to like redo a half-hour run because
Yeah,
you soft
exactly,
lock in
right.
loopy lights, but like
Yeah.
it would still like be a little annoying.
I think as far as like the spirit of the race is concerned, I'd like to just avoid that as much as I could entirely.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
not necessary, just for personal reasons. I'm
yeah,
just like
yeah.
I'd like to just complete a full,
A full
like
run, yeah,
a
and
full leaderboard legit
yeah,
run.
yeah, and then you have
Um,
like at the same time, yeah, you have the satisfaction of having done just that in like
exactly, right?
a race
Yeah.
slash marathon setting, and it's
Mm-hmm.
great. And
100%.
actually, like you brought up something that I really wanted to touch on before we ended up talking about split up glitch and loopy lights. But like you mentioned balancing out doing commentary and like running for a marathon at the same
Yes.
time. Like where do you feel like you're at with that at the moment? Like, cause at first when I started doing like commentary for marathons and no reset runs, I sucked, and like
Yeah.
I still like don't really consider myself like as good as I would like to be. Not a native English speaker for once, and like like maybe doing like the stuttering a bunch, and like
Yeah.
not necessarily like using comprehensive language for like everybody, but like I always try to tell myself that I do like a pretty solid job, and like I at the same time I enjoy doing commentary. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like when you're doing the run at the same time, then like the focus is split, and that could be
Yeah.
like really tough to manage. So I wanted like to hear on like your end of things, like where do you see yourself when it comes to doing just that?
Better now than in the past, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think it really like because when you're talking about stuff in the run, you will not be able to get everything out that you want to get out. It's like for example with me in like DKC one, it's like you want to talk about how Donkey Kong sucks. You want to talk about extendos. And like you can only get so many words out before you even finish like the first level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you kind of want to like explain stuff, and you want to explain stuff to people like that are like new, especially so anyone can understand, even if they don't know a thing about the video game. So I think in general, like game plans for that type of thing, like ahead of time, like okay, like what are my biggest priorities? Like sometimes like I'll be like when I did a run and you were helping me commentate for the Hotfix show.
Yeah.
I think like I wanted to talk about the rolling in the air glitch, but all we talked about I think in that moment was the jump roll, but like I was doing a glitch where I roll and jump in the air infinitely, and that to a new person is like, what is going on right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we may have talked about it, I can't remember, but I just know that like that is something that I forget about sometimes. And like to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we always do, but like that's something I really should bring up to people that are new. And like as long as the things that stand out the most, that are maybe not sequence breaky, but like glitchy in the game that you're playing, that's like someone might not understand, is prioritized and explained at the right times, then like I think that that makes things so much easier, because once you kind of have that down as a game plan, okay, we're gonna talk about extendos, we're gonna talk about how donkey sucks, we're gonna talk about jump rolls, we're gonna talk about the rolling in the air glitch. It's like, okay, cool, we got like a foundation of things to talk about. Now we just kind of gotta put them out there whenever, and then as we're going, we can talk about the run a little bit,
Yep.
or something like that. But I think it's important to get the important things done that you have to bring up, and then extra stuff can just be like about what you're doing, like, oh, that stage was super sick or whatever, like, and etc. I personally think I haven't done it in a while, because even when I did the hotfix run and you were doing commentary with me, it was easier for me to focus on playing when it was necessary, because you were there with me to kind of fill the dead space. Otherwise, like, I was just gonna be sitting there like, okay, need to focus,
Yeah,
and like
it's focus time. I'm gonna do a hard thing. I have to focus. I'm not gonna be able to talk for like 20 seconds, and then like
it's really awkward, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's important to like, and that's why, like, I don't know, I always feel like it's like crucial to have somebody there to help you, just one person at least. Help do it with you. But if you can't do it, then like, yeah, it's a tall order, man. Like, I feel like I'm definitely better at it now than I used to be, but it still would definitely be a challenging thing, even if I did everything that I had already mentioned.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And like time management, like in the run, like is so important. Like you said, whether we ended up talking about the air roll glitch or not, like that's something that can happen where like we end up talking about, oh, there's a jump roll on this level, and like we tunnel vision on like talking about the jump roll, and then we forget about like this pretty important like trick beforehand that like is required to set up for said trick that comes afterwards. And like it's also like you said, when you end up like being caught into like talking about something, and then like it pushes back on like what there is left to talk about, and then like it can be really tricky for the person watching the run to follow, because like not everyone is familiar with the speedrun that they're watching, like, and you really want to make the commentary as accessible as possible.
Absolutely.
For that regard.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, it's tricky, man. Like, I always like encourage people to do what they can to get somebody, at least one other person, to commentate with them, because it's hard.
Yeah, I remember I've done a run. I think it was like you remember the Corona Relief Done Quick marathon that they did.
Yes, I think you did 101%.
I was the first run of the marathon, and I did 101%. Yeah,
right.
And I was like, I don't need a commentator. I'm good to go. Like, I'll just run the ship solo. And also, like, at the same time, I didn't really know like who to ask, because like I think 101 was just like it was like more popular at that point than it used to be, but like I don't remember exactly. I don't know. Like I think ultimately I just didn't feel like asking anyone or like bothering anyone about like doing commentary for that.
I understand that.
Yeah. So and at the same time, like it was also like I guess a way to like challenge myself to like do commentary and the run at the same time. And for the most part, I thought I did okay. But it was definitely like I wonder like what it would be like to like just watch myself back and like do commentary and the run at the same time, and like it's just me and the host going back and forth at it, and yeah, it was it was an interesting experience for sure.
I remember you grabbed Winky.
I did grab Winky in 2-1, yeah.
I remember that, yeah. That was fun.
I propped him up. I was like, there is someone in this level that is like very important to me. And then, boom, Winky! And then like, I beat the level with Winky. Yep, there he is. And then I also remember, like, I think I called the run, like, the time that I was going to get. Like, after Kiro, I was like, this feels like a low 48. And I think I ended up getting like a 48-11.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is not bad.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Like, you know, first off, not bad. Second off, oh, I actually, like, I was pretty close.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Pretty close to calling it, yeah. Like, you know, I think I mentioned that to you, like, a while ago, but, like, when you're so familiar with your speed run where, like, you can know where you're at in the run and, like, you don't even need splits to, like, really tell you how far ahead or behind you are. You can like just do the math in your head. Oh, this like lost me maybe like this much time, and then like, oh, this segment went well, so like I matched this segment in my PB, and you know, it's the kind of stuff that I think about when I'm like doing runs without splits sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Or when you forget to start your timer.
Yeah,
that one's the classic.
Or when you reset your timer in the middle of the run.
Yeah, oh man.
I get so mad when that happens.
Yeah, man. He got world record. He got world record without a timer because he accidentally resplit it.
He got more than one PB doing this. he does this like pretty often, but like it's so funny that like he ends up like doing a run without a timer, and then it ends up being like a cracked run.
Yeah, and he's just like he finishes already. He's like, I'm pretty sure this is world record. I'm just like. I'm not gonna lie, I can keep up and do math and stuff, but without a timer, I have no idea, man. Like, it's, like, hard after a certain point. Like, maybe after, like, you know, maybe, like, between, like, Worlds 1 and 3, sure, but, like, after that, it's too much information for me to, like, process it.
No splits is one thing. No timer altogether, that's another...
He sees the frames and counts them all in his head. He can just like calculates it all. It's like, yeah, I think that's world record.
he has the vision.
Freaking
visionary Silent Wolf.
Silent Wolf 444, dude.
Yup. All right, you want to take some questions, Gamer Talent?
It's question time,
it's
baby.
Let's Q&A time. All right. It's jingle and you know, all that fun stuff. Eventually, soon TM. Soon TM. All right. Question from Runo. He says, since you guys are both elite, in parentheses, top of leaderboards, speedrunners, which seems to be really time consuming at this level, is your passion and occupation has had an impact on your current or past interpersonal relations?
No. That's my answer.
Yeah, no. You know. No.
I think I mean that's all I really have to say, I guess.
No. There's nothing. We got nothing. Another question from Charles. What is your favorite level in the DKC series to run?
A good question. Man, for me, like, it probably is Bouncy, the third level in World 2 for Donkey Kong Country 1. I really like Ghostly Grove in DKC 2 as well. Like, those two are, like, pretty high on my list, I would say. Those two in particular.
I was wondering if, like, you had a favorite level in, like, DKC 2, since, like, you haven't ran that game as much as DKC 1.
I have IL'd Ghostly Grove a lot, actually, in case you didn't know. So, like, that stage, like, I kind of was like, oh, this stage looks really cool. I want to learn it. And then I learned it, and I was, like, addicted. I remember I sat down in this chair and played it for 3 hours straight, just ILing it, like, grinding it so much. And I was having a blast. It was
damn nice.
Even when I was, like, really close, because I kept messing up, what is it? The little roll wiggle at the end of the level.
Oh, crotch goal?
Yeah, crotch goal. Yeah. I kept losing so many runs to it. at the very end, and I was like, ah. And I remember I was grinding for a 49. This is before that strat where you roll through the
The Clodder?
yeah, the
Yeah.
clogger. So this is before I knew. At least I think it was around, but I just didn't know about it. So I was doing ILs without it.
That strat is like fairly new. Like I want to say like definitely less than 2 years old. So like I want to say your time running DKC2 was like prior to that. So
Yeah, it was, but I did the IL for it, I think in 2021, like early 2021,
oh,
I want to
okay.
say.
All right. Interesting.
And like I think I did the time and I posted it in DKC2 strategy, and then someone was like, "Hey, just in case you didn't know, like this is a strat." I'm like, "Huh, I wish I knew about that, but also if I wanted to know about that, I could have asked, right?"
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like whatever. But yeah, it's definitely I'm pretty sure Bouncy is my favorite to play just in general because it is so satisfying to go through all those crawl spaces, like just smooth as butter, just like zooming through. It feels so great.
I feel like like you've really championed Bouncy Bonanza as like your level. It's like you've really pushed the level like as like further than anyone else really. Like I want to say like even like I watched Lovebird. Like Lovebird is cracked, and like I don't even see them have like as good of the bouncies that you end up getting in runs. Like I think your bouncies are better than their bouncies.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew about this, but like Otto and I both like really pushed the stage together. Like I would like beat his IL time, he would find a strat and then beat my time back, and I'd beat that time with the strat. He'd find another strat. This happened 3 times. And I was just like, dude, there has to be like, at first I was like, man, he keeps finding new strats, and like I have to learn the strat and then I have to do it, and then it's like, oh man, it was like so frustrating for a while. And I remember
you can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah, I was like, come on, bro. Like we kept going back and forth, and like that was honestly like the most like fun I had grinding down an IL, but it was also very like infuriating too because we were literally running out of time to save in that stage. Like it got that, and I had to. And anytime I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try to PB and Bouncy, I had to sit down. It was guaranteed to be at least a 2-hour session. There's no way I was getting a PB and Bouncy that fast because like I'd have to warm up like a lot, and like every tiny, if I rolled a little bit too late or whatever, it's like no, it's like gotta start over. Like or something. It's just like.
It's like when you get to the point in like optimizing an IL where it's like, oh, you like have the tiniest bonk on a ledge. It's like, oh, L reset.
Yeah. You gotta reset. Yeah.
Whereas like in a run, it's just like, man, that's annoying, but like I can keep going. It's not a run killer. It's fine. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like that's a little part of me like prefers doing runs instead of doing ILs specifically because of that. Because like tiny mistakes like can really be draining when you're going for like a really super duper optimal IL time.
Yeah, I agree. I really like doing runs, just generally more than doing ILs. ILs are nice when you're like kind of like, oh, I kind of want to play, but I don't really want to commit to doing full game run right now.
Yeah.
It's like you can kind of like boot it up, do a couple of ILs or whatever, and you can get that dopamine release of getting a PB,
Yeah. I like doing ILs at the beginning of my streams to like warm up. That's a good way to do so. Like usually. I do less offline practice nowadays, but like back when I was doing offline practice, I would just drill a bunch of ILs down, but I would like do so like in a very like try hard way. So like no game audio, like all business, like that kind of stuff.
Anime music blasting. You're just
the Toho horns blasting.
So what about you? What is your favorite DKC level? Since you ran all 3, like
I ran all 3, so I actually have a favorite level for like all 3 games. It's pretty cool.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, you can probably guess like my favorite DKC2 level. Though.
Oh, I already know. It's Toxic Tower.
Yeah, it is
like not
Toxic
even
Tower.
A competition.
Yep. Ratley isn't so great. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Have you ever seen a snake true double jump like this before in your entire life?
Yep. But yeah, like. I just put so much time in Toxic Tower when I like back in the day when I was like learning the game and trying to be good at it. Like I put so many hours into it, and like once I figured out the snake grip that I liked, then I started like just really like fucking pounding away at that level, and I was like, this level is fucking sick. It's so fun to do. And like when you get a clean snake section, like you just feel so good about yourself. You're like, your dick is so massive. It's so good. It just the feeling is undescribable. Like you know, if you ever like get around to like picking up DKC2 seriously and like really going for like a strong time, like 40 or 39, like you'll probably understand like what
I'll get it.
Yeah. You'll definitely get it.
I can already kind of imagine just like how satisfying it can be to just get all the double jumps and the tree double jumps and stuff like throughout the entire snake section. And right now for me, it's like, man, I'm just trying to like get to the top. Like, that's all I'm thinking about right now. I'm not even thinking about doing it fast.
just you know, do the baby routes up to the Squawks barrel, and then like once you're Squawks, just like genocide run up to the top, like kill every single freaking enemy to like make sure you don't die, because the Squawk section is like no slouch either. Like it's pretty hard to optimize the bird movement. Like I like saying that like once you're like consistent at the snake jumps and like you're good with the first part of Toxic Tower, like the Squawks part is like almost as hard, if not harder, to optimize.
Yeah, I can see that, honestly.
Because the bird is just like pun intended, the bird is an entirely different animal.
The mashing is a thing too, because that very heavily what's it called, implies claw grip there.
I do claw grip, so
yeah, you have to hold Y, and you also have to mash the B button to kind of go up as much as you can. So like there's a lot going on there, and then you have to like still repress Y to shoot out the nut or whatever.
The eggs, they're eggs actually.
Eggs, okay, eggs.
Yeah.
Let's not get it mixed up with Neck.
Yeah, you know, Necky's nuts.
Necky's nuts. Oh man.
Do you actually claw grip anywhere in DKC1?
Yes, when I'm using Espresso, every time
same.
I use Espresso, I'll do claw grip. In any percent, there's a spot where you have to dismount Espresso and re-grab the barrel for the fast claptrap bounce to get the tin can, the invisible donkey thing.
Or no gang.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So like whenever I do that section, I do all of that with claw. And it feels really good to feel like I have a lot of like room with my hands to kind of do whatever. It's a little awkward to rest your index finger on the top, but like that. But like after you get used to that, and honestly, I've developed a callus, you know, just doing it. But like after I got the callus and got through the parts where it felt a little awkward, it got a lot easier for me. I think it generally was the better like long-term decision. So,
that's how I felt when I switched to claw, because like I claw when I'm the snake or the bird, or when I'm in a water level. And like
you have to hold Y and mash in the water levels.
Exactly, because like in DKC1 it doesn't matter if you hold Y, but in DKC2 and 3 it does. So like if you hold you like just holding Y with my index and like having my thumb and my thumb alone to mash B like gave me just so much control over like my mashing speed, and just like it frees up the hand and just like feels nicer to play with in general.
Yeah. Otto's crazy. He'll do like claw like in the middle of like a rolling and jumping stage in some situations. I don't even know how he does it, but I think he like said like there's a strat at the end of Tempest and like I switched to claw and it makes it a lot easier. I'm like, how do you like just switch to claw like in the middle of Tempest? Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. What if it's for like the big extendo?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
I don't remember like what he was talking. This is a while ago that he said something about this, but when he said that, I was like, "Dude, you're insane." I was like, I can't do that.
God
but
damn.
that's our favorite levels to speedrun.
Yeah. That's my favorite for DKC2. I guess like real quick, I could say for DKC1, my favorite is Blackout Basement, and for DKC3, my favorite is Lemguin Lunge.
Lemguin Lunge, dude, that stage is so cool.
It is. Yeah, like ice physics, but like despite the fact that like this level has ice physics, it just like it feels so good to like route through like the Lemguins and like take advantage of their shitty hitboxes to like get good rolls and whatnot, and just like I don't know. I like it a lot.
I already know that I'm going to like that stage when I do get around to running DKC3. I will run that game one day. I don't know when, but I will run it one day. And I already know just from looking at the stage, I'm going to really like that stage when I pick up that game.
Dude, looking forward to it. Time on all DKC3 runs in 2027.
2027. Heck yeah.
All right. Next question from Stellar. As people who use gaming as a vector for competition and self-improvement so often, what are your opinions on casual gaming? Do you do it? How often do you avoid the genres you speedrun, etc., etc.? I like casual gaming. I wouldn't say that like I really like avoid specific genres when I do casual gaming versus like what I speedrun. I just like, play games that I haven't played, and it's great. It's just like a different experience from speedrunning. Like it's a nice break from really like always grinding the same game and just like being try hard about it.
Mm. I also casual game. My big thing, so for a while I really wasn't playing much casual gaming because I was just so obsessed with like melee and speedrunning. I was just putting so much time into those things, and it was fun and rewarding to play those. So whenever I was bored of one, I'd switch to the other, and it kind of filled the niche like endlessly for me, basically. But the game that there's one game that got me back into casual gaming that makes me still even do it to this day, and that's Breath of the Wild. I heard a lot of great things about Breath of the Wild before I had first played it, and in 2019, around November, maybe a little sooner, maybe like October 2019, I played Breath of the Wild for the first time, and I stopped. I remember I didn't stream for like 3 weeks when I played it. I just played it offline, and I just played it all. I was playing it every day. I would like work, and then I would like stay up until like like I don't even know how late, and I'd play it every single day, and it was an unbelievable amount of fun, and I still like that's like one of my favorite games ever. So like after I played that, I was like, man, playing games for fun is like kind of fun.
Crazy concept, isn't it?
Like when you're so used to like the competitive aspect of gaming and stuff like that, you really forget, and like and I really believe this, like there are tons of people I've met that are kind of just like that too, where they're like, oh, I'm really invested in like playing this game competitively or that game competitively or speedrunning this or speedrunning that, and like they're kind of like, I'm not sure if I could ever really casual game like that again, and I'm like, you just need to find that one game.
Yeah,
I swear, you find it might not be Breath of the Wild for you, it was for me, but like that game that you find, whatever it is, it will change everything. You'll be reminded, suddenly you'll be like 12 years old again, and you'll be like, this is so much fun, I want to just casual game all the time.
Yeah, sometimes like you just get sucked into a casual game like so hard. Like I remember when I did Breath of the Wild myself, like I didn't even do it like that long ago. I think it was like last September or October that I played Breath of the Wild, and like I did the whole playthrough on stream. But like every single stream, it was Breath of the Wild for like 5 or 6 hours, and I think that was for like 3 weeks straight, and that was a great time. And like
I watched a handful of them.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was fun.
And like I remember when I got Hades. Like that game like sucked me in like really hard for like another like 3 weeks straight. I would do my stream for like 5 or 6 hours. I would eat dinner, and then like I would play Hades for like 6 or 7 hours until like bedtime, and then like the next day it would be rinse and repeat for like like the next 3 weeks. I got like 200 hours in that game like so fucking fast.
Yeah, I remember when you were on your Hades grind. Like, I remember, like, you were playing so much. I don't think I've ever seen you play, like, a casual game so, excessively.
Yeah. I was like, really into it. Really into it. And, like, I guess nowadays, for me, it's new Pokemon Snap. Like, it got released last year. I played it a bunch last year. And then, like, at some point, like, I kind of took a break. And then the DLC came, and then I played the DLC, and then I took another break, and then, like, I think, like, a month ago, maybe, like, I was like, man, I kind of want to play new Pokemon Snap again. And then, like, I started playing again, and then nowadays it's like, an hour or two before bed every single day, and then I sleep like a baby. Like, it's perfect. It's
literally like, perfect.
Yeah, like, it's awesome. Like, I love it.
Yeah, lately my thing has been I also play Risk of Rain too. I mean, that game
that game is like what Hades is for me.
Yeah, I have like I think I almost have 800 hours in that game.
Jesus.
And I got it December 2020. So it hasn't even been 2 years.
Yeah, year and a half.
Yeah, like I'm like almost gonna have more hours in Risk of Rain 2 than in Sonic Adventure 2 on Steam. Which is crazy because I did speedruns of that game a lot for like years.
Yeah. Like you did speedruns and like you probably also did like a bunch of practice, so
Yep. And all that's recorded on Steam. I don't know if it's 100% accurate because sometimes Steam, poops itself and wants to go offline or whatever, and like,
or like, when you
stuff.
have the window open but you're not playing, then it's still gonna count as like playing the game. But yeah, like for the most part, it's like a pretty decent metric of like how many hours you've played. So
yeah, and there's no way you'll be able to track how many hours you've done DKC grinding, right? So
yeah, well, not on the SNES at least. Like on the Switch, like I have an account. Okay, so here's the thing, because like for Tropical Freeze on the Switch, I have an account which is my like account that I did my casual playthrough on, but it's also the account that I practice on, and I think I have like maybe 250 hours in that game, but like that doesn't count the runs.
Yeah.
So if you count the runs on top of that, then like it's probably like double that amount or close to it. Like I'm not sure, but yeah, like this is where like I lost track of like how much time I put into Trop, but if only. If only.
I mean, like I sometimes think about like how many hours do I have in DKC or how many hours do I have in Melee, and I'm just like, man, like
right, yeah, like
even just thinking about the number, it just sounds like
sometimes you're like, I don't know if I want to know the number.
It's just like some crazy.
Like 4 years ago, I thought I had like over 3,000 hours in DKC2. Like imagine now. Imagine now.
10K. 10K. Oh man.
All right. Next question from Neil. Did you ever watch the Donkey Kong Country TV series, and what are your thoughts on it?
So I never actually watched any of the episodes of the TV series, but I saw the Legend of the Crystal Coconut movie.
Yeah.
We actually got like the VCR and like and watched it when I was younger. So and back then there'd be whenever we wanted to like watch a movie, we would just watch like whatever we had, like when I was like real little. So like there's a lot of times I watched that movie like a bunch, and like for me, I actually did like that movie. Mostly because I didn't really think about the acting or anything because I was never picky about movies. Even now, I'm really not that picky about movies. But like, I was just like, look, it's Diddy Kong. Look, it's Donkey Kong. Look, that's a Crusher. Like, like so for me, I was like, look the characters. Like, I was so like, that's so cool.
I remember like really liking the characters because like they were the same guys as in the video game. Like it was exciting to see them on the screen. But yeah, fun fact about that Crystal Coconut movie, I think it's just like a combination of like a bunch of episodes. Fun fact.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's just like a combination of episodes. But yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember it aired on TV when I was a kid, so I would watch it sometimes when I would like be at my friend's place because like we didn't have cable, so I didn't have access to it at home. But that Crystal Coconut movie, like I remember renting it like a bunch of times because I loved it.
Do you remember that scene where like there's like I don't know, like Donkey has to go to get the Crystal Coconut and there's like a bunch of I don't remember like there's a corridor place he has to go through and he has to dodge and duck and weave all these like needles or whatever that are shooting at.
In the temple? Yeah,
in the temple. I'll never forget that and thinking how sick that was when I was first watching. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was super cool.
The one part of the anime that like I remember vividly was when the Claptrap was eating the ship.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think that's like you just triggered some small memory in the back of my mind.
Yeah,
I can't even fully vision it, but like that's like
like I think like I think the way the episode was going is like the Claptrap lost his teeth and like they wanted to get the teeth back from the cannon guy, and like the cannon guy had like his pirate ship and his crew, and like at some point like when the Claptrap got his teeth back, then like he exerted revenge and he ate the ship.
That is so like I'm just vaguely remembering all of what you just said. I'm like, oh my god, that is awesome.
But yeah, good times. Like, maybe stream watch of the DKC anime eventually.
Eyes emoji.
Yeah. Like I know Patty did it recently, and I mean,
yeah.
If he did it, why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah, you gotta. You're the donkey guy.
I'm the donkey guy, exactly. All right. Next question from... I was about to say next episode.
Next episode.
yeah. Next question from Fleedle. Oh, he actually didn't ask a question. It's just like a bunch of compliments. Thanks, Fleedle.
A lot of compliments and some stack it ups with PPMD Craigasm. Hey, that's a question as far as I'm concerned. The answer is yes.
Actually, PPMD Craigasm, yes.
Yes.
All right. And last one from Zer0 asking... Let's see. We can all see how much you guys stream, but how much time do you spend out of stream, quote-unquote, working on the games you run, and how do you spend that time? That is a very good question. So, I remember, like, back in the day when I used to, like I said earlier in the podcast, like, really be try-hard about my practice. Like, there would be, like, evenings where I would, like, practice for several hours, because, like, I was really motivated and, like, getting better and, like, actually, like, getting a really strong time. Nowadays, I hardly do practice off stream because I guess like I'm already there, kind of like I don't know. I don't feel. It's like I almost like burnt out on practice, and like nowadays I feel more like doing runs than anything else because like runs are more fun to like do, and they're also like more fun to watch for the viewers. So like it's kind of like a win-win for me. I do the practice for like as a way to warm up at the beginning of like each of my streams, but other than that, like I don't really practice offline, so I don't really have like a time management issue. Like Zer0 is implying. But what about you, gamer?
So I basically am in the same boat as you currently, where I don't really spend as much time as I used to grinding off stream. I pretty much will do about a 30-minute to 45-minute warm-up before my streams, where I'll practice the same group of things. And if I ever specifically lost a run to something I didn't think I probably should have lost a run to, I'll practice that as well. So like I'll only add that if something like very that like unique stands out to me. I'm like, oh, I died here. That shouldn't usually happen. Maybe my muscle memory's off a little bit. Let me fix that. Type thing. But I always feel like with this type of thing, like I put in so much time around like June, May 2020, like about 2 years ago. Oh man, I played. I couldn't stop playing. It was like a problem. I wouldn't be surprised if I genuinely played 8 hours a day. Like when I wasn't streaming, I was doing offline practice. I was doing IELTS. I was like really like addicted to like just getting better as good as I could. Eventually, after doing that, genuinely that for like a really long time, many months, maybe even a full year, I got to this point where it was pretty hard to push some of my IL times down. That was the big thing. I spent a lot of time doing ILs. And I was seeing a lot of results in my gameplay, and I was like, okay, well now I think the main thing I need to do is just do runs. And like the time save basically that I was squeezing out in practice at this point is kind of like very minimal, or it just isn't necessary for me to get anymore. So I was like, okay, well now I basically am kind of where I want to be. And like it takes a long time to do that. It really does. But like it's ironic that we're saying like, oh, how do you balance this thing that you would expect a top runner to be doing, and then we're just like, yeah, we don't do that. But like,
or rather, like we did that, and now we like kind of plateaued practice wise, because like practice can only do so much at some point. Like what you said like earlier, like I remember back in the day, like that's kind of what I would do, like when I would do like a session of runs, and then I would like take notes of like the sections that went poorly, or like the levels that went bad in that run, and then like I would use that as practice, like either later or like the next day, and like just like prepare for my session of runs this way. But like it's like we've like essentially like backloaded the practice so that we can like do more runs now. It's like we have like kind of that quote unquote freedom, so to speak, of like doing more runs nowadays than not that we couldn't do runs back then, but like practice was more valuable back then than it is for us now.
Way more valuable.
Yeah.
Because we still didn't know where all the time save was that we could get, and we were still trying to figure out ways to get it more consistently. So we had to do that, right? And like I'd say like nowadays it's like every time I like mess up in a run, it's almost always something I have done before, like a mistake that I have done before. I have like basically from all the years of just grinding and figuring out stuff, I've seen so much of it that like when something happens, I'm like, oh, okay, I messed this up, I know why I messed it up, and I know how to prevent it next time. So it's just kind of like, it's almost like a sharpening like a used blade type thing. It's like you're just kind of like, okay, let me make sure I, don't mess that up, and then I'm like, okay, I just need to do that. Cool, easy, and then it's done. It's like, it takes like 2 seconds, because it's just like, it's something that, again, like we had already put in so much time that like it doesn't take that long to remind ourselves, as long as we're not rusty. I feel like if you step away from a game for like a year plus, maybe that you might need to kind of revisit everything, but like we're playing Donkey like all of the time, so like because of that, it's like even if I take a month off, it's like it doesn't take that long to just de-rust, and like I don't really forget a lot of the experience that I have because I put so much time into it, and same probably goes for you, I imagine. It's like, yeah, you don't need to do it as much as like you need to just figure out more ways to like fix the mental, making sure that you're mentally able to push out what you already know how to do. And that's kind of, I think, the bigger focus that we probably both are working on instead.
Yeah. And you're also bringing up like something about derusting, like it's like the more often you derust, the easier it gets. So like
yes,
it's probably the same for you, but like derusting the first time, like for a speed game, is like the hardest time to derust, but like because now you're like playing the game again, then like the next time you'll be derusting that game, it will be like much easier because you have all this built up experience up to that point. And like because like we're at the point where we're at right now, if we were like take a break for like a few months of not playing like our respective games, like even like after a few months, like it'd probably take like what, a couple days to really get back in shape. Like it's really not like intensive or like problematic to derust anymore or anything like that, because like we've just like put in so much time already into that game.
Yeah. And even if like once you derust for the first time, you might be like, oh well, this is happening and this never happened to me before. That is a learning experience that you can add to the list. And like the list gets so big to where like 99% of the time you know why something happened. Like unless our RNG and stuff.
Even like subconsciously you'll know, like something will happen and you're like, why did that happen? I don't understand. But like you most likely know why it happened. It's just like you need to like fetch it in your memory.
Yeah, exactly. It's like basically there's a bookshelf in Void and I's head, and like sometimes we'll mess up and we're like, oh, where's that one? Where's that where's that series again? And then we gotta go through it all. It's like, oh, that's the one. And you open it up and you're like, oh, okay, hold B a little longer, put it back, and then you just next run.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But because we have that bookshelf, already available, it's a lot easier for us to just go look for the
you consult the instructions manual and then like you run it through and practice like 2 or 3 times and you're like, yeah, I remember how to do that. All right, next run.
Yeah, exactly.
That is literally how it goes.
Yeah, but again, that takes like a long time to like develop something like that. I mean, for me, I don't even think I started to get to that point until like end of last year, I want to say, was when I started to feel that way with DKC 1. So I was about a clean year and a half of just like speedrunning basically just one game.
Yeah.
And like actively like playing it a bunch with breaks, of course. But like, like I think it really took me like about a year and a half. Some people might be a lesser amount of time. I don't know. Some people are really just insanely quick at picking stuff up. So it depends on the person.
Maybe you really went in the hyperbolic time chamber with Donkey.
And I'm glad I picked this game because it's just so much fun, and it almost kind of like it picked me in a way because I was like I almost didn't like want to play as much as I did, but I did it anyways because it was just so much fun.
I didn't choose the game chose me.
Exactly.
All right, Gamer Tunnel. Any plans for you this weekend?
This weekend, dude, I'm like building this Yu-Gi-Oh deck that I've been sharing with you, and right now all I can think about is how much more I'm gonna work on.
Yeah. So like, we're gonna call up this podcast, and you're gonna like go right back on Dueling Book and fire up these games.
Dead ass. That is what I'm doing.
All right, excited for that, gamer.
Heck yeah!
And
episode 5.
Yep, in the books. That was awesome.
In the books. Heck yeah.
So yeah, thanks everyone for the questions. Keep them coming. We love to read them. We love to answer them. And thanks so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Heck yeah. Zer gamers rolling out.
Rolling out.